How do? Welcome back. Well, it's brew day, or rather brew evening, and I'm brewing the Warsteiner from my Clone Brews book, which I find is quite authentic. I've brewed it a couple of times now, and it does taste remarkably similar to the commercial version. So the only thing I've had to do is up the measurements, because it's an American book and their 5 gallons is about 19 litres. And I want 23 litres from this, so I've upped the measurements. That's about it. I've just put in my bittering hops now, and as I say, I'm going to give this the full hour. I usually just do half an hour's now, because I don't find there's any difference, and just for a little bit more hops you can cut down your brew day by half an hour. But I'm going to do the full hour, and that's because I don't have enough hops for 23 litres according to this recipe. If I was just to boil for half an hour, I've got just enough for 1 hour, and that's the Tetnang. This is 4.5%. My Tetnang are just 2.8%, so I've had to use a lot more. In fact, I've had to use 100 grams to get the same IBU. So I don't have any more, so I'm going to have to do the full 1 hour boil. But that's okay, it's an evening, I've got time on my hands. So I've made a little bit of a video clip of me going through the ingredients. Let me show you that now. Okay, here's all the ingredients. So I'm going to talk you through them and how much of each that we're going to be using. This is for 23 litres. The book is an American book, so it's only like 19 litres, so I've had to do a bit of maths and just to change the weights so that they're in line with 23 litres. First of all, the extra light, yes, I'm using my spoon handle as a pointer like a teacher. I've got my extra light dry malt extract. There's 3 kilograms in here, but I need 3.2, but I've already got a little bit over from, you know, brews in the past, so I'll add that to this. I'll add another 200 grams to get 3.2 kilograms of the extra light dry malt extract, and that'll be the base. For specialty, I'm going to be using 138 grams each of the dark Munich and the Carahel. So that'll give that typical sort of toasty taste that you can get with a Warsteiner. Now the Tetnang is going to be for bittering, and if I was just to do a straight line increase from their weight, I would need 69 grams. However, they're basing their Tetnang on 4.5% alpha acid, and this is only 2.8. But my calculator that I have in a spreadsheet has said that if I was to use 100 grams of the Tetnang, I get exactly the IBU it states in the book, which is 33 IBU. So because it's 2.8 grams, I'm going to be using the full 100. Actually, I could go with 90 because I will get some bitterness from the Hersbrucker. But I thought, well, for the sake of 10 grams, I'm just going to throw the lot in. So it's going to be 100 grams of the Tetnang at 2.8 alpha acid. And then the Hersbrucker, 11 grams is going to go in for 15 minutes for flavour, and then a further 9 grams for the aroma. And of course I'm going to be using Novalager yeast. So that's it. Lagers are really simple, nice simple ingredients, nothing special. So right, I'm going to get this ready. I'm going to weigh out all my specialty grains. I'm going to weigh out my hops, get it all ready, and I'll see you next to the brew kettle. I do. So it's I've just put in now the flavour additions. They're going to boil for 10 minutes, and then I've just got my aroma addition, which will boil for 5 minutes. So the eagle-eyed of you may have noticed. Oh, have you noticed this as well? I'm using a big muslin cloth now, like this. Instead of using hop socks and things, use one of these washable muslin bags, and I can use it for grain, and also I can use it for my hop additions, and I just use one bag for all the hop additions. Like you just saw me, I just unclip it, pour in the hops, and then just clip it back on, and it's off the bottom so it doesn't scorch, and they work really well. I find so anyway. But the eagle-eyed of you may have noticed this doesn't read 100 degrees, but it's boiling. And that's because I haven't put in as much water in as I usually do. I usually have this at about 12 litres, which comes up to about here. So this is taking an accurate reading. But what I've decided to do, again, it's a bit of another experiment. I'm experimenting with the yeast, which I can't find now. I'll put it somewhere. Oh, there it is, the Novalager yeast. Because I'm going to brew this at room temperature, which is now about 22 degrees. What I've found is that when I've brewed a Kvike, if I have about, say, 8 litres of water in my fermenter, and then I top it up with cold water to 23, and my mains water, even during the summer, it's ice cold. So I top it up to 23. It's between 30 to 35 degrees, which is great for Kvike. So my thinking was, if I can get about 6 litres after the boil, and I top that up to 23, I'm probably in the 20 degree range, which is where I want to test this. So I only filled it up to about 9 litres, which is about here, below the needle, below the temperature probe. And so this loses, over an hour's boil, which is what I'm doing today, this loses 3 litres. So I started with 9. After I've put the malt in, which was about 1.5, it expanded the volume by about 1.5. So I actually started with about 7-8 litres, put the malt in, that went up to 9, but as it boils and reduces, I'm thinking I should end up with 6 litres. Now I've still got another 1.5 to add, 1.5 kilograms of malt, but I'm thinking that's okay, because I found that when you do add the dry malt, it seems to knock the temperature down again. So I think that will compensate. And then when I top up with 23 litres of my ice cold groundwater, it'll be pitching time for the Novalager. It'll be between maybe 24, and then just the ambient air temperature will just bring that down to about 22, which is where I should be fermenting this, because that's the heat that we've got today, for all next week as well. So that's why this needle isn't saying 100 degrees, it's only reading, well, it's reading about 70 now. It's because the needle isn't touching the boiling water. It's actually come down as it's reduced, because obviously it's getting further and further away from the liquid. It did start at about 80, 85, it's now about 70 as that water's reduced, as it evaporates away. So that's it really, and I've got my bucket ready, and it's all been sanitised with an airlock. So all I'm going to do, oops, fell on the floor, maybe give that another spray with Star Sand. So all I'm going to do really is, in about, well, I've been talking to you for a few minutes, so in a few more minutes I will add the aroma hops, I will let them boil for 5 minutes, turn everything off, transfer directly into the fermenter, and then top it straight up with 23 litres of ice cold water. And I use a 5 litre saucepan, which I spray with Star Sand. and I find that as I just pour it in really, you know, just roughly, that aerates it, and you end up with a nice big froth on the top, and I can pitch straight on the top, and I'll let it go. I'll probably give it 10 days in the fermenter, although with Novalager it's a quick ferment. It'll probably be done in 5 days, but I'll give this like a nice 10 days in the fermenter. So not this weekend, obviously, today's Thursday for me. But the following weekend I'll bottle, and then I'll give it a week or two in the bottle, and we'll try one and see if Novalager, you know, ferments nicely even when it's nice and warm. And then after that, of course, it's putting through its paces at 30 odd degrees and see, can it compete with a Kvike, especially the Lutra, which is a nice clean Kvike. This is not meant to give any off flavours, so, and it's cheap. It's about half the price of Lutra. Lutra is quite expensive. It's about £9. I think this was about £4.50. So yeah, does it compete and give a really nice beer with no off flavours, really high temperatures? But we'll see what this tastes out like. Hopefully it will still have a lager character, even though it's outside the temperature range. I said it wrong in the last video. It's 10 to 18. I kept saying 0 to 18 for some reason, but it's 10 to 18. This is obviously going to be 4 degrees higher than that. So hopefully it will still keep some lager characteristics. I do like Warsteiner, and it's the weather for lager. But we'll see. Right, thanks for watching. This is getting close to be adding the next edition, so I'll get cracking with this. Hope you have a great time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.